Previously, in the dungeon of the Mad Mage, the party found themselves back in Frethian territory. They were greeted by Rilna Freth, who was occupied drilling the Frethian soldiers, but were unable to speak with Erelal and Driven due to an ongoing audience. So they spent their time speaking and delivering goods to the quartermaster and the cooks of Spiderwatch Keep. When they were finally able to speak with the leaders of House Freth, the Great Mother invited them to witness a daily scrying ritual, one that the Frethians had been using to gain information on their enemies, House Ovrendar. The target of the day was to be Chalzana, Blonwelv's advisor, but as the ritual unfolded, though it did view its target, it was the words being spoken on the periphery that were important. Words that seemed to be encouraging an alliance between House Ovrendar and some other faction. Accented words that referenced a country from a far-off world. Words spoken by a voice Matashtai recognized. His friend, Darren Tash, was alive, and apparently trying to coordinate an alliance between House Ovrendar and some other force. As the scrying ended, the monk practically begged Erelal to try scrying again, but this time on his missing friend. And though the Great Mother acquiesced, the spell was unable to hone in on its target. One more mystery to untangle. Discussion turned then to the pressing matter at hand, war with House Ovrendar, which seemed more pressing than ever as this possibility of an alliance had been revealed. But in order to march against their foe, at least with some degree of success, House Freth needed the party to clear the way. Multiple concerns came to light. The Zazana, a group of minotaurs on the 12th level that would undoubtedly harry the Frethian army on its march. The Nahastu, a tribe of troglodytes on the 11th floor, posed a potentially similar threat as House Ovrendar had been busy enslaving them, and they now saw all drow as enemies. The 11th floor also played host to seemingly endless trolls and a foul Behir known as Mapemi, the Rune Serpent. These threats would also likely weaken the Frethian army on its march if they were not dealt with. And these weren't the only threats to consider, at least not from the simplest approach. If the Allied forces wanted to strike House Ovrendar's northern territory and occupy some of its forces there, it would need to deal with Muriel the Misshapen, one of Halaster's 7, or else risk his interference. Not all of the threats needed to be dealt with, and in fact, the longer the party took, the more likely House Ovrendar would discover something was amiss and either shore up its defenses or find allies. But the Frethians were not without suggestions or aid. Driven had concocted a plan with which to kill two birds with one stone. The rule of the Zazana could be usurped by a powerful minion of the Horned King, one that Driven could summon and control using the heart of a great creature. If the party could slay Mapemi and return with its heart, House Freth might then be able to control the Zazana. But it was not a control that would last indefinitely. The Zazana would need to be used, then their power shattered. This didn't sit well with certain members of the party, nor truly with the rulers of House Freth, though Driven was willing to do what he thought was necessary. Instead, Erelal proffered an alternate plan, or rather an idea that could potentially develop into a plan. House Freth held a prisoner, a white-furred minotaur whose horns had been sawed off, and who had seemingly been banished and cursed. Erelal had tried to touch the bull's mind, but to no avail. The Great Mother thought perhaps only a person of great import would have something like this done to them. If the party could find a way to remove this creature's curse, they might have an ally and a potential alternate method of dealing with the Zazana. So the group decided to meet with this individual, and were escorted to a storage building turned prison cell. The white-furred bull was mad with rage, sleepless, constantly seeking to kill everything in sight, and so had been chained, magically bound within. Matashtai sought the creature's mind, and was strongly rebuffed. A foul and unimaginably powerful presence had claimed this creature. But the Halaster would not relent easily. With Valina's aid, he pushed again and again, each time being rebuffed psychically, until the monk's eyes, nose, and ears streamed blood. And still he would not relent, for he felt the presence of something trapped within that creature's mind. And eventually, Matashtai connected to that presence. His name was Prush, and he had sought to lead the Zazana on a different path, a path of peace. But he had been duped and cursed, and the key to that curse now lay within the pit of sacrifice, within the heart of Zazana's territory. The party reconvened with the leaders of House Freth. They had a goal now, or at least a desire, to free Prush of his curse and see what might come of doing so. Driven, at first, was frustrated at what he felt was a risk to everything that was being worked toward. But the Archmage relented, and seemingly finally bought into the idea that House Freth's survival was all in on the backs of its new allies. The party now rests to recover from Matashtai's ordeal and to allow the Frethians time to prepare a distraction before the party heads into the beast's den on the whim of saving one man. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.